we're talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro reviews, and I gotta tell you, there's a whole bunch of them, and obviously you have like the glazers on the pony side of things, but like the people who are typically like your biggest ones that are normally the ones that are ready and willing to glaze PlayStation at any
Yeah.
given moment are not. They're not. They're keeping it real for the console for whatever reason.
Oh, okay, okay.
So GameSpot, their headline is PlayStation 5 Pro reveal. Powerful on paper, ordinary in action. Mm. He also wrote over here, right here. This is the guy who actually did it. It says, I reviewed the PlayStation 5 Pro. You probably don't need one. Right. And that's the overall sentiment, man. Now, obviously, they went ahead and if you go like they obviously there's like a billion words. Like we're not gonna read shit for sure. Um, but oh, where the fuck is this thing? Do they not put the score in the review? I know this they gave it a 7, that I know, but I'm trying to find it. Shit. Maybe the pisser is hiding it.
Could you imagine? But this is the thing. We knew this. We we said this when they announced the shit. We said this from that 9-minute presentation. And this is now official. Powerball says scroll down, see money.
Yeah, I scrolled down all the way to the fucking
I
bottom.
think he means there with the tweet. I'm not sure
Oh,
because we're
oh,
not
oh.
seeing what you've got.
No, no, right here. Wait, what are you seeing? Yeah, yeah, you're still seeing this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
But
oh, okay, I'll show you the shit that I'm looking for. I was just trying to find it, but it's not here. I don't know what the fuck. They completely like just removed the score. I don't know if did they even say it at the end.
hold on,
No,
hold
they
on.
don't. There's
It's not
no
in
big
there.
number. Oh, what the fuck is this number? Nothing. Nada. Nope. Not at
It's
all.
lower on the page of tweets, he said. So, maybe it's one of those tweets when you go into the comments.
Maybe it's one of the tweets that well, they had the IGN one. That's for sure. Right. So the IGN one, that's right there in up front and center. But when I look at you know what? Let me click into them themselves. Just trying to get the official fucking I I I've seen it, right? So they've fucking come out and said it, but
I feel listen, the number itself is generous, obviously. It has to be just so much worse for them to go ahead and give it a 7. And we know how they go ahead and treat PlayStation. This had to be painful for them. But we already knew that this wasn't a necessity, right? This wasn't something that if you want, not if you have $700 to throw away, right? If you want to throw away $700, because at that point you've got to choose to say, okay, let me just go ahead and do that. But if you want to do that, then yeah, go ahead and buy it. It's not a necessity. It's not something that's going to bring you, some amazing freaking games or to some type of visuals that your eyes won't be able to handle. Um, but yeah, we knew that from the start. Look at CMoney zooming in, but thank you though, because I couldn't see
oh,
the other shit.
trying to make it happen, but I can't find the thing. It was a 7 though. So they did give it a 7. And that's just like mid, right? Like that's the thing. At the end of the day, all this boils down to is that this is supposed to be a big launch that you're asking all this money for, right? Like be clear, you're asking for a lot of money for a console and it's just mid, bro. Like people are not pumped for it. We already heard Derek saying that he bought it and he's taking it back, right? Because it's like, what is it actually doing? What is the actual value here? What is the actual worth? And again, outside of the people who just have the money and don't care and just like buying tech, which is which is fine, right? If that's what you want to do, great. And nobody cares how you spend your money. If you're okay with it, that's fine. But outside of that, or outside of you being a diehard, like fucking, I'm the
Need to
PlayStation
have it,
only.
yeah.
Yeah, like I'm PlayStation only. I need to have the best version of PlayStation. That's fine, right? Like if Xbox came out with a new Xbox, regardless of how much powerful it was, I would most likely fucking buy it, right? So I get it. So if you're a hardcore PlayStation dude, fine, right? But I kind of I said it earlier, but again, like this is IGN, they're giving it a 7, right? And I think they sum it up pretty nicely, right? So you have to really desire that visual upgrade, knowing that it doesn't transform the gameplay experience at a fundamental level. And to be fair, Sony never said it would. So as it stands, the PS5 Pro isn't essential, but it is certainly nice to have. 7.
It's nice to have to say that you have it, right? And I just the capping that's happening here. To be fair, Sony never said it would, right? Just excusing the fact that this console is $700 and it is supposed to have all the bells and whistles. It doesn't. That's a failure. You dropped the ball. That is
Yes.
not, it's not just on paper. When you go ahead and you check the damn manual, it's clear as day. They were not transparent when they went ahead and tried to sell you on the idea of getting this pisser. They wanted to go ahead and slowly walk you through it. They were trying to go ahead and convince you that you were going to see a difference. So let's not act as if Sony wasn't trying to go ahead and trick your ass into buying this shit. They absolutely were. They
They
were
were.
not transparent about the specs of the freaking box. And yeah, you would think that for $700, it should not be said, right? It should just be known that you are delivering something much better than your PlayStation 5. I mean, am I crazy to think that that's how it should be? You're coming out with a new console, new tech. You're charging $700 for it. You're selling the stand and the disk drive separately. You are expecting people to show up for this box without games. Again, without games. There was no hype for any freaking games other than old freaking games and
It's true.
remasters. So if you're telling me that you have a freaking pisser, these old games better look amazing. If not, you're trying to bamboozle me. It is not my job to get a fucking pisser, and once I get it, look through the manual and realize that you tricked me. It is not. Now, I do think that you have to be a fucking dumbass to watch that 9-minute fucking presentation and buy that shit. It was telling what was going on. With that said, I stand by everything I said before. And Sony, PlayStation came out here and they were trying to trick these motherfuckers into buying this shit. They were.
I mean, they were omitting the truth, right?
The
That's what
red
that's
flags were there.
they were going ahead, like for instance, he said 67%, right? That turned out to be the truth, right? The original box is 10 teraflops. 67% of 10 teraflops is 6.7. Add 10, 6.7, you got 16.7. Spot on. He didn't lie there. But he did say 45% more powerful. And you know, again, even there, it's kind of flubbed because Digital Foundry did this whole breakdown, their whole video, and they pretty much show you time and time again that it's only really capable of doing around 33%, between 25 and 35% more power. The 45% doesn't come until very specific situations when you're playing in 120 FPS mode, and only there can you see some of those bumps get a little bit higher. But outside of that, it's minimal, right? It's minimal. So you're not seeing any real, big performance gains. Again, you're talking 30 something percent, not the promised 45%. And these are like older games that people are using, right? Understand this. They're not using the newest, most demanding games out there to go ahead and do these comparisons, right? They're comparing old shit,
Yep.
right? Now, look, even that being said, even if it were hitting that 45%, even what it is, we've seen it. There's always trade-offs, right? Like if you were somebody who wanted graphics, right? If your graphics were the most important thing to you, well, if you go and you play on your PlayStation 5 Pro in quality mode, chances are it still looks better on the PlayStation 5 quality mode than it does on the PS5 Pro performance
Performance
mode.
mode. Yep.
Yeah, you're getting the 60, or I mean, for a lot of stuff, it's not even 60, but
You're
you're getting the higher
compromising.
frame
It's
rate,
all
but
a
you got to compromise.
compromise. Why are we compromising? I understood. We get it. You needed, right? You needed a mid-gen refresh. Phil said it himself. We don't need it. And now we can see clear as day. And listen, break down the fucking numbers for the people that need to hear the numbers clear as freaking day. There's a reason why they're using percentages and all this other bullshit, right? We already know that the PlayStation 5, it ain't shit. If a pisser is an upgrade from the PlayStation 5, it ain't shit. That has been clear as day. The ponies have been out here capping for a freaking box that is weak. And so are they, though. So
It's true. It's true. I mean, and you see it nonstop, right? Like even if you look here, right? This is Games Radar, right? Another PS5 Pro review. 7.5. I'm sorry, 7,
three,
right? 3.5 out
yeah,
of 5, which is a 7, right? So again, another 7. This is not what you want, right? This is not what you want. This is not what you should be seeing from it. And like honestly, even those 7s are variable between them. Like that set, people are getting to that 7 for different reasons or different things that they see. And most of it comes down to the fact that yes, do the games look better in performance mode for the Pro than it did in performance mode on the PlayStation? Most likely, yes. But like how much better? $700 better? If you remember, baby, when we were breaking down that 9-minute video, right? We did it
yes.
live with you guys here. And we paused it, right? And we would go and we're looking at it and we would pause the moment and they're trying to show you, look right here, look at how much better this looks than this one here, right? And I said it back then. I said, okay, cool, right? So let's, for instance, saying that you're playing this side right here, right? You own the PS5, you're playing it, you're living your best life, right? I come in, I pause the game, right? I slide you over a screen and say, this is the same game. I have it running on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And I show you the two differences. And I'm like, yo, can you see the difference? Yes. Okay, great. Now, the question is simple. Standing here right now, for that difference, give me $700 right now and you can have this. Are you going to do that?
No.
No.
For
Nobody would.
what? For what? No.
Nobody would. You
Listen,
cannot see it, bro.
so many red flags. Not to mention, again, we're talking about the compromising. He literally said that this was so that we can stop the options, right? So that we don't have to compromise. And there's nothing but compromising with this freaking pisser. It shouldn't be that way. It should just be something that just runs well together, not one or the other. It's bullshit. It's bullcrap.
Now, look at this here, right? So this is your homies at Digital Foundry, right? Eurogamer. So Digital Foundry wrote the review, and this is what they put over here. The truth is, the standard PS5 is still the best choice for most people. But for the core enthusiast looking for the best possible experience, the Pro option is there for you, albeit with a substantial premium, right? So you got to pay a lot more money to get it, right? And then over here, this is the shit that gets me because this is what they think we give a fuck about. PlayStation 5 Pro, is it worth the money? Clearly made for enthusiasts while laying the technical foundations for the next generation.
Come on,
Motherfucker, why
man.
are you giving me a fucking half step? Why am I paying 700? I'm not paying mid-gen prices. I'm paying next gen prices. I'm paying $700, $800, $900 for this new fucking system. And you're telling me that my money is just for laying the foundation for what the next generation is going to fucking be?
Get the hell out of here. Get the
Motherfucker, we're still in this generation.
No one has the freaking listen, you want it, go ahead and get it. But good luck finding people, a nice amount of people, the way that they're thinking that they're gonna sell this shit, they're gonna say, you know what? Yeah, let me get that technical foundation while you figure it out. For all we know, they won't figure out the pisser and they abandon the damn freaking foundation. Let's be real. We saw what happened with Alan Wake. The freaking thing had to jump through hoops to figure out how to deliver this game, and it still doesn't look the part.
Great.
And what did he say in that 9-minute presentation? That it was up to the developers. Up to the developers. Talk about being bamboozled. It's up to the developers. So when the developers say, I'm not doing all this shit for the pisser, when barely anyone bought it, then what happens to those consumers? What happens to the people that, supported your technical foundation while you figure out your next gen? What's going to happen to that? So we're talking about a situation where you're expecting people to give you what? Between the PlayStation 5 and the pisser? $1,300? Where are your games? What happened to you during this generation? You didn't show up, but you expect people to show up with their wallet and go ahead and support while you figure out your tech. Come on, man. That's bullshit.
True. Fucking true, man. That's the reality of what it is. Now, speaking of Digital Foundry, all right, let me go ahead and put this up here because obviously that's the written one, right? But Digital Foundry did a video, okay? Now, obviously, when the video popped, I saw it and I said, "Oh shit, let me watch it and see what these clowns are going to try to do to justify this bitch," right? So I go and I click it and I'm watching that shit and I tweeted this, right? And I said, interesting, was in the middle of watching Digital Foundry review of the Pro, and out of nowhere, they deleted it. I wonder if Sony saw something they didn't like and forced them to remove it. Yes, the review was fucking out. 10 minutes, I was watching that bitch. And then all of a sudden, boom, it just cut. Gone. This fucking thing popped up and it was gone. Fucking gone with the wind. I'm telling you, I think they shared some shit in there and Sony fucking saw it and made them take that shit down.
Someone fucked up. And let's not forget what a roller coaster it's been, right? They've come out here, you kind of get a genuine reaction, and then they cap for it. Shame on them too. Like to go ahead and try. This is not, listen, some people assume, right? They didn't see the 9-minute presentation and looked into it and try to figure out further. They just hear, okay, new console, refresh, new tech. Here we go. I want to get it. That's it. That's what it is. I'm going to buy it for my kid for Christmas, right? For the holidays. And it's like, that's not okay. So be transparent. I understand that maybe there's some type of freaking deals, the capping for PlayStation or whatever the bullshit is. This is not a video game. This is a very expensive console. This is nothing to dick around about. So to come out here and kind of in the heat of the moment, kind of show your colors, you see it, how they're reacting to the things, to what's being said, to what they're reading, right? And then you want to cap for it. Come on, man. Don't do that bullshit. Don't do that.
You ain't lying. It's the motherfucking truth, man. It's the motherfucking truth. Look, at the end of the day, this is going to be something that, eventually will come down in price, right? I feel like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, Series X, they held, their price for a long time. They're still the same price. Actually,
Oh, no, no,
Xbox
no, no.
has
The
a lower
PlayStation
price.
5, remember? They upped the price.
Oh yeah, that's
They upped
true.
the price for
In a
their
lot of places when you're
controllers, for
right,
everything.
you're right,
For
you're right.
everything.
That's
Yeah.
fucking
Oh my
true.
goodness. Can you imagine old tech going up in price? That's how it works, right?
That's
Or
crazy.
that's just the PlayStation way. Got it.
It
It's
is the
it's it's
PlayStation way.
so ridiculous.
So what I was trying to say was that the Xbox has kept its price, right? Obviously, they have a cheaper version without the disc. They have a version that's more expensive with the 2 terabyte, the Galaxy one. But as far as PlayStation is concerned, like unless that price comes down significantly over time, this is not going to be a slow burn console sales. Like it's not going to be something where like,
No.
well, it's out long enough, it'll keep selling. Like, nah,
This is gonna have to
nah.
go on sale like the PlayStation VR 2.
Honestly, you're right. I think they're gonna have to at some point. They're gonna look. It's gonna be like that Nintendo 3DS. You remember when they
Yeah.
came out and it was too much money and they
Yep.
they lowered the price and shit. Unless they're honestly just sitting there saying fuck it, whatever dumbass is able to get this. I just don't see what developer is gonna spend the time and energy. Like Remedy did it, but Remedy, we know they're kind of desperate to do anything they can to get this
I
goddamn
mean, they
game
were
to
in there
sell.
already. They were like, we got to figure out how to make this work, right? They know we're doing this, so we have to come through and we got to make the best out of the situation. Did it
Yeah,
look the
and they
best? No.
we put
Um,
we went through that whole fucking list,
we
man. They
did.
spent a shit ton of energy
That was a
trying to
long
figure
list,
it
Steve.
out of how to fucking make that ray tracing work. And again, it is lower than the lowest spec PC. Like the lowest that you can get ray tracing on a PC, it is lower than
So
that.
since prices are going up for PlayStation, all this shit, does this mean the 5090 or the 4090? Are we talking about the highest, but they called it the lowest? Just are we playing games here? No, we're not.
Y'all remember he was comparing that shit to like 4070,
Yes,
4080,
yes.
4090 is gonna melt minds. That motherfucker started going back and now he's compared it to like the cheap shit, like the bare bone PC parts and shit, like the 3060, 4070 he was at. Now he's down to 3060. He went to this other side. Like, uh, this dude is wild, man. Like, what happened? What happened yo? You were so hyped on the other side, calling us all dumb and stupid and ridiculous because we knew it wasn't a 4070, wasn't a 4080, wasn't a 4090. Hargeet had to go out there like a soldier and battle you guys because y'all ganging up on him because y'all believed in your hearts and souls that it was going to be a 4070 or above. And then you have the audacity to come out here and put out videos with this lower spec. Where's the 4070 video?
It
Right? We're
doesn't
not going to do
exist.
that.
Doesn't
We're not going to do
exist.
that because you were wrong, right? But now you're going to try to go and say, okay, what I'm going to do, I get it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go compare it to some bunch of weak shit to make it look better and feel better. Got it. Okay. Cool.
I don't understand this desire. They brought up the PC conversation, right? And then they just are going to die on that hill. It's like there's no like just tap out. It was already proven there's no 5090, no 4090, no 40 freaking like it's that's not where it's at, right? It's not. That's where you guys came in. It's not hitting that. Let's stop trying to freaking figure it out and continue to keep it next to the PC narrative. It's just not happening, guys. Let that die. Like sometimes you need to know when to kind of call it quits and say, okay, well, that was some bullshit. Let's move it along because at this point it's just ridiculous. And that's kind of where it's at. It's like, okay.
Agreed. 100%. 100%. Doc Dark is back. He put out here, it says LMAO. Dang. They really pulled it off. They got them replaying games they already beat in platinum. Laughing my ass off. Could never be me. Way too many games out here.
And that's the
Laughing my
thing.
ass off.
Way too many games out there. And listen, you want to go ahead and do that shit. No problem. I just don't understand, and maybe that's just me, right? That's just Doc Dark. That's just you, CMoney. That's probably most of you guys in the chat. Like, listen, there's a difference between saying, oh my gosh, you know what I want to get into today? You know what I want to play? Yes, there are all these games out, but I'm going to go ahead and hit up The Last of Us. But when that's what they're feeding you and you are cornered to be on a platform where that's all you have to play over and over and over again, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again. Listen,
Expecting a different result.
and expecting a different result. You're gonna go ahead and play these games nonstop, and that's just it. Listen, I don't know how much connecting anyone needs to do to Joel or freaking Ellie, but shit, one round was enough. It just was.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, look, it's different if you're like if you just go back and replay a game that you love, right? Just on your own accord, right?
Yes.
You're just saying to yourself, "Hey, listen, I got this game and I want to replay it because I love the game." Do it up. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares that you're playing
There's
old
so many
games,
options,
right?
but this is what I'm choosing to do.
But when you buy a new console and you're forced to only play the old games. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're forced to only go back and play these games you platinum because they ain't no other purpose for the console that you have right now. Dude,
I mean,
come
it
on,
just
man.
sounds ridiculous to cap for that bullshit. Don't be upset that anybody else is calling out the fact that PlayStation is not really making a damn freaking thing. They're not making a game, right? Not to the standard that PlayStation should be making a game right now.
Facts. Facts. 100%. 100%. Uh Also, babe, did you realize they took the 8K label off the box?
Gosh darn it, motherfucker. Son of a
So
gosh
supposedly,
darn
right? So
it.
supposedly, right? They
Didn't they
went ahead.
scratch them off the PlayStation
So
5, the 4K or whatever it
the
was? And
8K,
now
right?
here we
Yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah. So
Man, I
the
thought it was gonna stay
8K,
on this box.
so they had the PlayStation 5 box with the 8K label, right? But they had to remove it because it's not real. And then they were gonna put it on this box, but supposedly they removed it from this box too. I guess Derek in the chat can confirm when he saw his box whether the label was still there that said 8K. Um, so like I don't know, but that's a little wild. You know what I'm saying? That's a little wild that they
They
took it
keep
off there.
moving the goal, right? There if this is not like this is the thing. And like beyond whatever. Let Xbox come out here and start scratching shit off the box that they said that they put down that was in there, yo. We will never stop hearing the end of it. They will never stop hearing the end of it. Phil should be fucking fire, right? Everybody should be let go. Xbox is dead, is what they would say, right? Come on, man. You don't get to play scratchies, right? Oh, I told them this, or I showed them that. And look, now I get to just erase that. Just because you took it off, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen, right? You did say these things were out there, and now you're pretending as if you get to dictate how it moves forward. It still happened.
The RDNA 3 feature that would use the half floats, right? The RDNA 3 feature that would use it is not there. it's not on the PlayStation 5. It's not RDNA 3. It's still the regular RDNA 1/2. They haven't changed the structure, right? So it's not that. They said that, and then we talked about it on the show, right, baby?
Yes.
Because then they even try to glaze over it, saying, I mean, it was not really relevant for gaming anyway. Like
Yep.
try
They
to
try
make
to.
it sound
Yep.
better now that it doesn't have it. If it had it,
Then it
okay,
was a
they
big
would have been like,
deal.
it's huge. It's 33 T flops. It's gonna be great. But now
Say
that they
what?
confirmed, but that's why, and that's how full of shit they are, because that's why the other dude was like, whoa, when
Yes,
he
he
heard
was
it.
shocked. He
He was
was.
fucking
Yep.
shocked, bro.
He was like, "What?" But this is the backpedaling that they're doing, right? It's like you see the reaction, and if you go ahead and you maybe catch the wrong video and you're like, "Oh, look, this is it," or whatever, when they're capping and talking all this nonsense, you don't know the whole truth, right? But when you've already seen their reaction, when you already see what's not there, that supposedly it did matter, or it would have been a big deal, and now that it's not in there, it's not a big deal. Like, these are the problems, right? And again, we're not talking about a cheap console.
So we're balancing it out, right? We're not, if people want to spend their money, they're free to spend their money,
I hate this
right?
fucking narrative that they want to put out there just because they don't have Game Pass,
Yes.
or they want to fucking like send me pictures of where you live, right?
Facts.
Come on, man.
Facts.
And it's just some fucking idiot talking shit.
Yeah, so it's their bullshit, right? But there is that bullshit narrative that they have. They do that to make this conversation happen instead of the real conversation that needs to happen, which is it's just not worth it. Because if it was worth it, most people would buy it. If they could afford it, most people would buy it if it was worth it. But
No,
it's not.
dude. But this
It's
is the
not.
thing. I think that that's the problem, right? And that's the frustration with PlayStation. It's waiting for them to do something great. They're not. I'm sure you ponies are too. That's why there was the excitement of, oh, it's like a 4090 or a 4070. That's where that idea comes from. You think they're
Yep.
going to show up, especially for $700. You're thinking the way that they're rationalizing it is, you know what? This cannot be a regular console. They're coming in like this with no disk drive, with no stand. This can't be a regular console. It must be ta da da. Even though the thought is ridiculous because a 4090 is how much? How much?
Muchos dineros.
Exactly. So come on.
Yeah, it's stupid. But again, this is what they want, right? This is the conversation they want us to be having because they want to deflect. They want to move away from the idea that it's not worth the money and not that it's too much money, right? Again, we buy phones every year or we do, like, people spend money on shit that they want to spend money on. If
It
gaming is
just
your
needs
hobby
to
of
make
choice, it
sense.
just has to make sense to you, the buyer, right? And it has to make sense so that you can visually see it. And like I said, if you're a PlayStation only person and that's all you fuck with, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yes, go get it. If you're saying to yourself, I want the latest PlayStation hardware, again, if I promise you, if Xbox came out and said, "Hey, we made a new box that's fucking 16 terabytes," I don't give. Yes, I would buy it. 100%. If they came out and told me there was a spec bump, I will buy it immediately. I don't care, right? Because I am all in on Xbox, right? I don't care. I want the new shit. Give it to me, right? I want to be able to play it the best way I can play it. But at the end of the day, that's a choice that I know that it would be ridiculous to get it because it's not that much of a change or whatever the case is, but I'll do it.
It's easy for you to say, CMoney. It's easy for you to say, right? And let's go ahead and dissect the fact that we have Game Pass, right? We have games coming out all the time, right? So you have to fully put yourself in that situation where you're thinking of Broke Station, right? Trying to sell you a $700 console with no games, nothing but remasters or remakes. Come on, man. Like you're not talking the same shit. Yes, if Xbox comes out with a freaking box and it's like the freaking pisser, and you're like, okay, well, there are upgrades here and there. The amount of games are coming out, they are bound to go ahead and upgrade some of those. And I will, some will be a miss, but here or there, I might find a hit, right? Where one of these will stick. But man, we're talking
Listen, I get it. I
about,
get it. I'm not talking. I'm not saying it's rational. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're just a hardcore PlayStation
not
dude
to
who wants
mention,
it, you're
by
gonna
the
get it.
way, they're in camp making games, right? They have studios making games. What games are they working on over at PlayStation? So if you're saying to yourself, you know what, this freaking pisser that Xbox is trying to deliver, right? Yeah, other developers may not think it's worth spending the time, right? Going ahead and dissecting the technology and making it work for the game. But in camp, they're going to go ahead and say, okay, well, people are paying $700 for this shit. Let's figure out how to make these amazing games that we're already making, right? We got the year stacked with games. We're going to go ahead and take advantage of our technology, right? So you have to get out of that mentality before you go ahead and say, yeah, well, the pisser makes sense. If that's so, it's just a lose-lose situation. I can't even rationalize the fact that of spending $700 on a console that it's not up to par, right? The 30th anniversary, yes, yes, and only because it is the 30th anniversary, that is a collector's item, right?
That you can sell for a lot of money, like our
Exactly. But
boy
a
Hargate.
pisser that's gonna be that it's barely selling and the games aren't there and it's just it looks just, what did they add? A few more stripes? I mean, man, sorry to tell you, but I just can't wrap my head around that bullshit. And again, buy it if you will, but at the same time, it's like, man, all the flags are there. It is a different situation. We are not the same.
Of course, but
And it's frustrating that they can't go ahead and say, you know what, it is great because of this, and that, or these games are coming to it, and what they have to go ahead and go back to the same fucking bullshit that they throw out there. And they want to make it like people can't buy this fucking, let me tell you something, it's only $700. That's the reality of it. Yes, it's a console. It's only $700, especially when you go ahead and you spend money on PC and shit like that, right? And you like the best of the best. It's only $700. But for what it is, holy fuck, it's $700. That's the thing.
yeah, I mean for sure, for sure, it's for what it is stupid. It's stupid. There's no way you can justify 4 years into the generation having that little ass bump. Think about this. The original PlayStation 4 Pro was double the power, right? Double the power of the PlayStation 4. And they delivered it at the same price, if I'm not mistaken, as the original launch price of the PlayStation 4. Now I know times have changed, right? So the numbers are not moving the same and all this shit, and great, right? But at the end of the day, right, they are charging $300 over the cost of the PlayStation. Because you got to remember, the PlayStation 5 is $500 with a disk drive. Okay, understand that. The non-disk drive version is what, 450, right? 450. And now we know why they raised the price of that, right? To make it a smaller jump to the Pro. But still, 450, you're paying
So it's more
another.
seamless.
Yeah, you're paying another
Yeah,
$300. You know what I'm saying? You're paying
grind
another 300
games.
bucks. $300 is way too much money for that little bump that you're getting. You're getting,
Some may say that it should have just been an update.
well, talking about update, it's funny because, the Xbox during the Digital Foundry, one of the interviews, that, not the interviews, one of their podcasts, Remember after Alex Battaglia went and said that the ray tracing was lower than the low, and then they punished him and made him come out
Yep.
and do this dramatic talk that he's never done ever. He's never that dramatic. What? Diddly squat, saying stupid shit that he doesn't do,
We
right?
got the cartoon version.
Yeah, we got the cartoon Alex, right? But he came out and he said that, oh, it's so much more powerful than the Xbox and whatever, right? Magnitudes. Again, this is before they knew that it was 16.7 teraflops. Orders magnitudes big or higher in power, right? But he then says that, I mean, sure, can Xbox come out and use the machine learning and make something with it? Sure, but they haven't, right?
Yeah,
They
and then they
haven't.
wanted to make jokes about it. What's the point of being first if you're not gonna use it?
So what happens if Xbox makes their shit? Right? What happens if Xbox makes something for the Xbox Series X that taps into machine learning, because machine learning is on the box? So if they do some software upgrade to go ahead and make that happen, right? What happens then? When you
Well,
have machine learning versus machine learning, you're telling me that that's now like, what's going to justify the fact that you're that much more money? I mean, the Xbox can do it if they wanted to, right? We know that they purposely waited. They purposefully waited to get the RDNA 2. And we do know that if you look at the games that we have, Hellblade 2, undeniably the best looking game, Series X or Series S version of it, right?
absolutely.
Best looking game that has been released, right? Facts. Nothing on PlayStation has touched it, whether you've seen it on the Pro
No,
or regular, right?
no.
So not even close. And then you think about the lineup of what we have coming. And again, you're looking at the best looking games. Fable might actually end up being better looking than fucking Hellblade 2. Okay, with the scale that they're doing it in, right? Open world with the scale that they're working at, it might end up looking better than Hellblade 2. Again, nothing, nothing on PlayStation, either announced or not announced, comes fucking close. We seen Wolverine looks like dog shit. And we
Yep.
already know that they're waiting till 2026 to hopefully be able to hit the graphical fidelity of Hellblade 2 with Wolverine.
Oh,
That's their goal.
okay.
2026.
Okay.
Another 2 years from now. Okay, another 2 years from now. So again, you look at the situation, we're talking about very different beasts. If Xbox is able to do this and they haven't done any of that extra machine learning bullshit, right? They haven't done any of that extra. Come on, man. We have the same box. If this happens, come on. You
And
don't have to spend another fucking dollar. You got it already in your box.
but that's the thing, it's already in the box. And what does that mean when the next gen comes out and they want to go ahead and make sure that the games are made and that they are compatible with the X, right? The technology's already in there, right? So this is something that just because they haven't tapped into it, it's something that future proofs the box for when they do. Um and listen, again, you said it yourself. We've seen some of the most stunning freaking games that are going to come out, and like Hellblade that have come out already on Xbox, and nothing comes near that. We will
Facts.
say that Wolverine, that kind of conversation was said at a different time. It was said at a different time. They were still hopeful. The team was not torn apart the way that they are now.
That's true.
So I'm not sure that that wish
That they'll
or
ever
that
get there.
desire will ever come into fruition.
Babe, you're honestly, you're absolutely right, because this is all pre Hiroki Totoki coming out here and fucking laying the smackdown. I mean, based off what we see on Ghost of Yote or Yotai, Yoplay, um, based on what we saw there, we already see that in 2025 they're putting out shit that looks like it belongs on a PlayStation 4 generation.
Yeah,
So something
exactly.
I don't think they're gonna
So
invest
let me
anymore.
remind you that the Ratchet and Clank team they're the ones now that are stepping in and working on
Oh,
Wolverine, are
the
they
team
not?
is gone. The guy who was
The
the guy who led it
exactly.
is now leading this shit. So
So, I mean,
facts.
think of Ratchet and Clank and then think of what we saw of Wolverine, and we'll see. We'll see what the fruits will be, but it's not looking good. It's not looking promising.
It is not. It is not. That is the truth. That is the reality.
They also wrote Insomniac this letter that, again, when we read it, it just seemed like a goodbye letter, right? It felt that
We did
heavy.
read that. Yep.
It felt so heavy. And it was almost like a farewell to their fans of what they are known for, right? What they used to be, because it's if we again go by Hiroki's words, they will not be what they used to be. They are not capable to not only not elevate themselves to produce the same quality of game, even though they were already not doing that. These new budgets are really gonna create an impact with what we see from them going forward. So
These are all narratives. These are pony narratives that they try to do. Why? Because of their situation, man. Because of the situation they're in. They're down, bro. They're down bad. They're feeling like shit and they don't know what to do. So they have to go ahead and create narratives that give them hope, right? That makes them feel like they're not losing. And this is the reality. They're the only ones playing their little fucking game. Like they
well, at
don't
this
realize
point,
we've
it's
all left the
quite
building.
pathetic.
You know what I'm saying?
It's quite sad. It's quite pathetic. They keep getting slapped the fuck up and they just keep going with the same bullshit and the same narrative. A lot of them still do. Um and we will see where that takes them. But again, I tell them all the time, smile, right? You're all right. The worst is yet to come. And I
It's true.
enjoy saying that because they
Honestly,
are so freaking ignorant, and the shit that comes out of their mouth or that they take the time to type and put out there on Twitter is just so fucking pathetic. You can't help but to feel sorry for these damn ponies. And at the same time, you just want to knock a bitch out and you're like, yo, I just want to slap this fucking pony up. And you're confused. You're confused. You
obviously, she's saying theoretically,
theoretically,
right? Not
theoretically,
actual
sure.
threats of violence, guys. This is
No, no
just
violence.
jokes. Just jokes.
Ha ha
That
ha
being said,
ha.
the ponies are clearly, in a situation where they, you know, the world grew up around them and they didn't, right? So they're like, it was cool when we were all playing Little League, right? Like in PlayStation, they had some bigger kids, right? And they were just crushing it, right? They were doing well, making games, selling consoles, living their best life, right? And then like the problem is that they stood playing Little League. You know what I'm saying? Like we've moved on, right? We've gotten to the big leagues. We're playing games that these kids don't even know about, right? Like they don't understand the concept of what we're playing, right? They don't get it, right? They're still trying to be beholden to console sales when console sales are not the moneymaker, right? For PlayStation and Xbox. It's just not, right? They're they're not. It's the software sales that matter, and it's the access to that software that matters. And how do they access it? Well, I'm sorry, but if Xbox comes out and says we have over 500 million people who actively interact with our products and pay money to be involved with it, I'm sorry, but there's no world that we live in that we are in the same boat. Like, not even close. Not even close. And again, conversations that we have over here, we just bought we bought Bethesda, something that no one thought would ever happen as far as the amount of money being spent in gaming, right? PlayStation looked at that and was like, God damn, what is happening here? This is crazy. They're wild. They're wild. But then they didn't stop. No, no, no. They upped the ante. They went to the highest peak, right? They went to the highest that you could ever spend at any one given time in gaming. And that was to purchase Activision Blizzard, and that was almost $75 billion after all said and done. Okay. That's a lot of motherfucking money. Okay. And that we knew just knocked the air out of PlayStation. They have ever since that moment, that was the kill shot. Okay. That was the kill shot that Xbox made. PlayStation no longer understands what game they've been thrown into. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been playing Little League all this time, and now they're expected to play in the pros. Like they're not capable. They're not ready. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just not. And they won't be. There's no amount of time to make it happen again. The only way, and honestly, at this point, you can't even say this. Like it's crazy because the logical idea is the only way they could be saved if they had like this large influx of money that they were willing to invest into gaming.
They don't care
But
about
they're
it.
not.
See, they're talking about music, they're talking about movies, they're talking about taking their gaming IP and going to use it and others. They're out on a freaking tour. A music concert,
shit.
bro. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They're making a graphic novel. When is that coming out? They making action figures. Anything but games, bro. Come on, man. The stupidity to go ahead and say, you know what? Our studios are not going to go ahead and make gas games. Yes, y'all don't know a damn thing about that, but giddy up. Time to go ahead and make those games. Figure it out. Come on, man. How do you approach a situation that's that fragile in that way? They've been approaching it like a broke-ass bitch to begin with. And now look at where they're at. It is hilarious. It's so ridiculous. Come on.
It's true. It's fucking true, man. It's so true.
And whether it was them that they were going ahead and making their studios release the crap that they were releasing, or if it was the studios themselves, maybe the studios deserve all this crap. How is Naughty Dog killing off Joel? Why is freaking God of War Ragnarok releasing the way it did? Why is Spider-Man 2 full of freaking bugs? Why? So maybe either they started this shit earlier than we thought, or their studios were already tapped out. Because you can't tell me that you spent over $300 million on freaking Spider-Man 2 and it released in the conditions that it did, and those bugs are still not patched up. You can go and play today, and it still has the freaking issues that it had before. So you cannot convince me that either these studios are capable of moving forward with the way that technology is going, and when games like Hellblade 2 are being released, or Sony they just can't. They can't afford to do so. Either this started long ago, way before we've known, or the studios ain't shit. And they've tapped out with the last gen. And that's why they keep on remastering these games. They're on a loop.
Agreed. And that's the way they're going to be, because they don't know how to get off. They don't know how to. Well, no Diddy. That's not what I was saying. I'm sure they pay to get off.
Well, when your greatest hits are behind you, what do? It's like a raggedy.
They're like in sync right now.
Exactly,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, you got Chris Kirkpatrick out there still trying to sing "Bye Bye Bye." You know what I'm saying? Like this motherfucker going in, dying,
out of breath,
fucking old ass man doing that shit. This is what they're doing. They're using the same shit over and over again, bro. Like they don't know what to do.
Joey Fatone I saw on a clip not long ago, and this motherfucker looks like he's ready to play freaking Santa Claus at the mall. That gray beard, just the look. He's got it down. Out there, humiliating themselves, trying to still be a boy band. God darn it!
Boy bands have disbanded, dog. Like stop.
Shit.
Like stop,
it's
bro.
Like some people need to get slapped up with the truth, and they still don't get it.
Yo, it's true, man.
Man,
It's true. It's
this
true.
world is filled with
We're
freaking
done, bro.
snowflakes.
We're like done with it, man. Like, listen, I'm not saying that you can't make another God of War or you can't make another Ghost of Tsushima, but fuck, you have to move on with the times. Like we want new, man, not some same regurgitated shit, bro.